Okay, welcome everyone to our 5th annual Exceptional Student Services Resource Fair. This is the second year we've done this virtually, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that next year we will be live and have all the displays and all the things that many of us remember being able to do. But thank you for the speakers who have joined us, and thank you to parents who are coming on. We also have some visitors with us this morning. I want to make sure I acknowledge them being with us. Our superintendent, Dr. Cruz, is with us, and our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Brown, is with us. Dr. Cruz, Dr. Brown, would you like to say anything?
I just want to welcome everyone. I'm so glad that we have this opportunity for parents to get connected with resources that are going to help their kids and their families thrive. So thank you to all of you for putting this together. I appreciate you making the time to welcome our families in this way, and again, make sure they get connected to the resources that they need. And to those of you that are solution providers, thank you for the service that you do, the work that you do on behalf of our students. We genuinely appreciate you, and I'm so glad to get our families connected to you. So thanks again for everything that you do. We have an incredible, exceptional student services team. We're super proud of them. We're really proud of all the work that they do. And we're so thankful that our families trust us with their kids. So welcome, and I hope that you all have a great day together.
Thank you. Dr. Brown? Dr. Brown, you know, we can make sure you do closing remarks for us. How does that sound? Okay. Mr. Su, do you want to try and translate some of what we just said?
I will do my best. Bienvenidos y buenos días todos. Me llamo Vicente Su, soy el coordinador de Tecnológica Asistencia. Mucho gusto a todos. Bienvenidos a la Feria de Recursos del Distrito de Pendergast. Nuestro es el 2 veces para usando el feria en un lugar virtual para todos. Es nuestro 5 veces para hacer la feria para nuestro distrito de Pendergast. Hoy nosotros hacemos 2 personas muy importantes, la superintendente, Dr. Cruz, y la directora académica, Dr. Brown. Mucho gusto para participar, y para los padres de los estudiantes de nuestro distrito de Pendergast. Muchas gracias por participar en nuestra feria del distrito de Pendergast también. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Su. We are going to share our screen so that everyone sees our agenda for the day. And if there's a provider that you want to make sure that you are in here to listen to and see their presentation, you can pop on and pop off. We'll be here at the same link. We'll be here until noon today. And if you want to stay with us for the full 2 hours, that's awesome as well. We're a little bit late, but our first speaker will be Vincent Su. And then sometime around 10:20, Betsy Musin from the Family Resource Center will be speaking. Angelica from Raising Special Kids will be in at 10:35. Ray James will be speaking about Child Find at about 10:50. Bernadette Smith, and I believe Cricket is in here with us as well. Bernadette and Cricket both will be speaking with us. Sean Thompson from DDD, he's going to speak with us around 11:20. 11:35, we have Special Olympics. Shay and Peyton are here with us. And Joanna from JoJo's Sensory Salon, she's also going to speak with us towards the end of our session. As I said, you can come on or come off or stay with us the entire time. We won't be taking any breaks, so we'll be in here for 2 hours. Feel free to join at the sessions that you feel apply to you, that you want to know the most about. So at this time, Vincent Su will be speaking with us about assistive technology supports. Mr. Su?
Thank you very much, Gwen, and welcome again, everyone. Again, my name is Vincent Su, the Assistive Technology Director and Lead Occupational Therapist for the Pendergast Elementary School District. Welcome, Dr. Cruz, members of our board, Dr. Brown, and especially our parents of our students with exceptionalities. Thank you for joining us. So I will go ahead and share my screen, and I don't want to forget our teachers too, of course. And let me come here first. Hold on one second. All right, can everyone see my, not this one, hold on. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So again, thank you very much for joining us today. I would love to talk about assistive technology supports and strategies that we can all use in the home setting, in school, and when they're out in the community as well. So again, I'm the AT coordinator for our school district. I'd like to start out by what is the most commonly used room in our house? Maybe in the chat, if you like to, chime in, for a couple of seconds. What do you feel is the most commonly used room in your home, in your apartment, in your studio that you feel that you use every single day? Okay, I see Angelica says the dining room. Okay, Dr. Cruz says the kitchen. I like where this is going. I really, really do. Excellent. I see living room, okay, which I personally do use a lot in conjunction with the kitchen. Great room from Allison. Sean Thomas says the restroom, okay. All awesome, awesome answers. Thank you very much. And absolutely, based on research out there, worldwide, internationally, the kitchen in all homes worldwide is the most commonly used room in our homes. So what would we consider as assistive technology in our kitchens? Well, things that we use every single day to help us live life and to do things that we do every single day, including our can openers, our blenders, of course, our Keurig coffee machines, right? Everyone drinks coffee in the morning, right? Our rice cookers, our high-tech refrigerators now, even to the simplest low-tech things, such as your forks and your spoons. So that really defines what assistive technology is for our students as well. So based on federal law, it divides the definition of assistive technology into two items. It could be an assistive technology device, which is a piece of equipment, a service, or product that you acquire commercially off the shelf, something you make on your own, something you modify or you customize to help increase, maintain, and be able to improve that functional capability of that child with a disability, to be able to do things in the home, in the school, wherever that child does occupations. There's the other side. Here's the Spanish for those that do speak Spanish. And there's the other side for assistive technology services. And based on federal law, a service is anything that assists a child with a disability in the selection, the acquisition, and the use of that AT device, which may include an AT evaluation, device acquisitions, how to maintain and repair, train the student, the teachers, the families, and educators on how to use that device to help that student in the classroom and at home as well. So how do we use AT in the school setting or even in the home to help our students as well? This is a really good visual as to how assistive technology helps our students in terms of accessing their curriculum in the school and when they're doing homework at home as well. So we help with brainstorming ideas, with study skills at school, at home, for writing, for reading, organizing their tasks, when they're doing projects in the school, taking notes, being able to access their computers, to communicate more effectively, both receptively and expressively in the schools, doing reading, being able to manage their times, and being able to use AT to do things that are hard for them and to make it more accessible. Then we also look at the three different types of assistive technology, which are low tech or no tech, mod tech or mid tech, and high tech as well. This is a wonderful visual as to things that we would use in terms of low tech AT devices. So for students that may have reading disabilities, such as dyslexia or fine motor difficulties, in using things like pencil grips or pencil cushions, slant boards, different types of adaptive pencils and pens, the simple things as a notepad, which really helped me with my introduction, by the way, is something that is really, really helpful for students that doesn't really require too much technology. It's very simple and easily accessible as well. Then we go into mid-tech, and these involve a little bit more technology. They may involve battery devices such as your communication boards that our wonderful speech and language pathologists use with our students. We have talking calculators, we have audio books, we have different switches and different types of technology to help students access their curriculum. Then we go into high tech, or more complex devices such as your iPads, your Chromebooks, your eye gaze devices for students that may have difficulty using their bodies to communicate. They may use eye gaze to communicate with a device. Those students with complex physical needs or students that use wheelchairs. Those wheelchairs are very high-tech devices that use a lot of technology to help them with mobility, to help them with transfers, to do the things that they need to do in a classroom setting. We have very complex augmentative and alternative communication devices that would be considered as high-tech devices. You have your smartphones, which we would consider a high-tech device as well. Those, CCTV or closed-circuit television devices to help students with visual impairments will be considered a high-tech device as well. If I'm going too fast, let me know as well. Also, one thing that we like to show you today as parents of our students with exceptionalities is how can you as parents help your students at home with one of the most challenging things that all parents deal with every single day, at least on school nights, right? Which is homework, right? So homework is a really, really challenging topic and area that parents struggle after school. Oh my goodness, there's so much to do. How am I going to get my child to do homework a little bit more easily? Well, I'm here to share some strategies. One of the first things that you can do easily without the use of, without any evaluations, this can be easily acquired commercially. You can go on Amazon, which I'm sure we all do nowadays, right? To get something called a pencil cushion. Pencil cushions are not pencil grips that require, a specialized evaluation from an occupational therapist that specializes in fine motor skills. However, these are called pencil cushions, which you can easily get from your Staples, from Amazon, from your Target, from even your local Fry's or supermarket would have pencil cushions as well. And these really help students when their fingers are very fatigued or they use a lot of pressure when they're writing. It really makes writing a lot more comfortable, and it will help them with their writing if they're doing more lengthier writing assignments, and will make their writing process a lot more easier. So that's something that you can easily purchase without any sort of specialized evaluation to help your student in the home as well. Something that you easily have difficulty with is getting them to finish homework on time. It takes hours from what we hear some parents do. So something that you can easily do is take your simple file folder and make 2 lines down the middle. This is a very simple low-tech idea. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your homework sheet and put it inside the file folder, closing up those flaps and taking over one flap and finishing up those few problems. Say you're doing a math worksheet, for example. Once the child or your student finishes up that section, you close it up, you give them a 5-minute break to do something preferred or something fun, or go outside and play. We're using a timer. 5 minutes later, you come back, you open the second flap, and you have your child finish up that section. Vice versa, you close it up, a break, come back, and you finish the worksheet, and it breaks down the task way more easier for your child to complete homework. Then we have something simple that you can do. We all play games as teachers. I'm sure the teachers here in our resource fair today use a lot of games to make their curriculum more fun and more accessible. Now, if you've noticed some of your children, they may have difficulty holding on to dice because they don't have that pincer grasp that they are able to hold on to that with your thumb and their pointer fingers or that tall finger to be able to hold on to a dice or a couple die. So something that you can easily do, save up those Gatorade bottles, save up those bottles that we typically recycle with our garbage. And all you do is you clean it out, you put your dice inside the bottle, and once you close it up, it's a very easy way for your students to be able to play games without the dice falling all over the floor. So once you do that, you put it on the table, and it's really easily accessible for a student that may have those dexterity and fine motor issues. A simple fix for a very frustrating problem that some parents and teachers have as well. The next item is how can we make technology more accessible? So many of our students use Chromebooks, iPads in the home setting to access their homework, to do Lexi and Dreambox. But you know what? Sometimes they may not be able to use their pointer fingers to be able to access that technology. So something that you can easily do is make a do-it-yourself stylus with any single pen in your home to make that stylus. And here I have the instructions both in English and in Spanish. All you need to do is take a cotton swab. So I'm just going to do a really, really quick example. Take your scissors. I have all the ingredients there. Not the supplies, pardon, this is not a dish. So I'm not doing a cooking demonstration. But all you do is you cut a piece of a cotton swab. You take any pen and you disassemble it. And I'll do it really quick for you guys. And all you do is you take the cotton swab and you're going to put it inside the opening of the pen. And once you do that, you're going to take your aluminum foil, you put it right on top right there. You take a little bit of water, which I have, you're going to moisten that tip, and then you assemble the pen back again. And what do you have? You have your own do-it-yourself stylus that you can use to access your tablets or your computers or your Chromebooks or your iPads. And that just only took 20 seconds, but take your time, make it really fun, make it really, really, fun for your child to use at home as well to access their tablets as well. Then we go into something called voice typing. Voice typing or speech to text. I know plenty of my colleagues and plenty of my friends and family members use voice to text. So this is something that is, if you are having your child do more lengthier writing assignments and they're not able to write or they're required to type more lengthier assignments, using their voice to speak to be able to get that writing assignment is something that is going to make their homework a lot more easier and a lot less cumbersome to do as well. So if you are in a Windows-based a device such as a Chromebook, you would just simply go to your tools section and then click on voice typing. Once you see that orange button right there, you're going to be able to formulate those ideas, click on that button and be able to use speech to text to be able to type those lengthier writing assignments. On an iPad, it's very similar. You just go to the microphone on your iPad device to be able to do the speech to text function as well. So this is something that is a very valuable tool, especially for our 5th through 8th grade students as well. I will also include instructions on how to use this in my resource page as well. Finally, the last item would be something called Rewordify. And Rewordify is a wonderful resource for our families to be able to use with students that may have learning difficulties or a learning disability such as dyslexia, where they may be reading a large paragraph with very complex vocabulary. And that complex vocabulary is really impacting your child's ability to understand what they read. Well, Rewordify is a simple web-based tool that you can use to go on and be able to simplify difficult words and difficult vocabulary in anything that you find on an online website. And you use this on any web browser on any device. It also helps differentiate all your nouns, your verbs, your pronouns, and it color codes it just like it shows right here. So it makes the learning process when you're doing ELA way more easier too. And also there's a lot of other fun features to make learning and reading a lot more easier. And so that's something that I would definitely recommend to all of our families that may have their child have difficulty with reading as well. And finally, I have my resource page that has some amazing resources that you can access. The first one I would love to introduce, which is from our Arizona Department of Education. Now, as the coronavirus has, influenced our ability to do teaching, and for many of us, for 2 years or about a year and a half, we were working from home with the distance learning model. And so ADE created this wonderful website for professionals, for family members, to be able to, have resources, on how to speak to children about COVID-19, motor sensory OTPT supports, communication speech therapy supports, visual supports, if your child is going to high school, secondary transition supports, and lots of other supports with math, reading, literacy, fun items, and other resources that they can use to help their student and child in the home setting as well. So I definitely wanted to introduce this because this is available to all our families statewide. And let me go back to my site as well. Other great resources that I would also like to point out, the last one being Speech to Text as AT for Writing, gives you a really good guide on how to use speech recognition to help your child as well, along with other resources. And on that note, I would love to say thank you very, very much. Please email me at vhsu@psd92.org with any questions. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Vincent. Each and every time I hear you and watch you, I learn something new and different, and you do it in such an exciting way. I should not say this to you, but you really should have a YouTube channel where you can have subscribers and viewers and make tons of money. You can even put on fancy hats and get even more creative. So I didn't say that, but that's what you should do.
You know what, Gwen, I'm going to start shopping on Amazon for that stuff. So thank you for that recommendation.
You are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen.
So next we have Betsy Musin. She is our coordinator at the Family Resource Center, and she is going to be sharing some of the many activities and opportunities for our families and staff at the Family Resource Center. Betsy, are you ready?
Oh, and you know, Ms. Parker, before Betsy presents from our incredible Family Resource Center, which if you're not involved in the Pendergast Family Resource Center, you are missing out. So I'm really glad that you're here to hear about it. But Senator Martin Quesada has joined the Exceptional Student Services Resource Fair this morning, and we really appreciate that. He is one of our incredible members of our governing board. I know that these are busy times for him, so I'm not sure if he can jump on and say hi to you all, but I did want to acknowledge that Senator Quesada is here, and we appreciate members of the board coming out this morning too.
Hey, Dr. Cruz, I'll just say hi really quick. I don't have a lot of bandwidth, so I'm going to keep my camera off, but thank you, and thanks for all the work you guys are doing.
Thank you, Senator Quesada. Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Betsy, are you ready?
I am ready. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here again this year to just share a little bit about the Family Resource Center, the background, what we do, and how we support families in the community. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And here we go. All right, if I can get a thumbs up if you can see the screen okay. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm going to just slide this down a little bit here. Hopefully you won't see a big dark line on the screen. Sometimes that is a bit annoying, but once again, it is a pleasure to be here. The Pendergast Family Resource Center, it is funded by First Things First through a partnership with Pendergast Elementary School District. We provide services to families with children aged birth to 5 prior to kindergarten. It is really a one-of-a-kind type of support for family and child, or adult and child interactive activities. So we're very proud to offer this service. We feel that we provide many supports to families, and I'll detail those a little bit as I talk today. If you're not familiar with First Things First, it is the only public funding source dedicated exclusively to early childhood. So when you see things like preschools that have Quality First funding provided to it, Quality First is one of the main programs for First Things First. Family resource centers are funded by First Things First. Many home visitation programs are funded by First Things First. You will see that First Things First logo at many things like the public library, because they offer classes specific to children birth to 5. The way that we're able to provide these services free of cost to families is because we have funding provided by First Things First. So we are very fortunate to be able to provide things free of cost to all families. Oh, hang on, I must go back. There we go. We have 3 locations in the Pendergast School District. Our main center is housed in the community center, Pendergast Community Center. You'll see that in the first picture. That is the only site currently open right now, but it's a large site, and we actually have access to even larger rooms at the community center. So we're able to offer our classes and provide safety, such as social distancing, individualized activities with families having tables to themselves, so there aren't any shared materials during this time of really focusing on safety in the community. Thanks to the size of the community center, we're able to provide those safety factors and follow the mitigation policies. We also have centers at Sunset Ridge and at Rio Vista. Those 2 sites are currently closed, but we hope to open them in the near future. Our main center at the community center, we have many things available for families. We have a bank of computers that families can come in, make appointments to come in and use those to support their families. They may be looking for resources. They may be looking for for time to work on resumes for employment. We can spend one-on-one time with them to support them in looking for resources for their family. They may be filling out applications for social supports in the community. But we have a staff of 5, and we are available to help families with any needs they may have. We also have a playroom that is available to families, reserved by appointments at this time, so that we can control the number of families in the center at one time. But that playroom is a great opportunity for children to have playtime with materials that are developmentally appropriate for young children. It gives us time to connect with families, to observe children, to see if there are any developmental milestones that we might have concerns about, so that we can share conversations with families about possibilities of AZEP referrals, child find referrals, any type of supports that we feel that might be helpful to the family. We are, like I said, we are a group of 5, and we can support families and provide services to them as they come to the center. One of the things that we offer are adult-child interactive classes. So the difference between us and a preschool would be that preschools see children in a classroom setting without their parents in attendance. Our classes are available for birth to 5. So we have infant classes up to classes that are appropriate for children aged 3 to 5. So preschool aged. But the difference is that their parents attend with them, or their adults, or their caregivers. We have grandparents that come to us. We have caregivers of many types that participate in our activities. This is an example of some of the classes that we have available. I haven't listed all of them, but many of them are listed here. And you can kind of see some pictures of activities that we do with families. Many of these are very popular with families. We do a yoga. We really focus on social emotional. So we have a lot of sensory opportunities available to children. We know how important those opportunities are for children to have hands-on, developmentally appropriate opportunities for growth. We have music and movement. We have family literacy nights that are available virtually currently. So we do have an opportunity for in-person and virtual opportunities for families. We also offer parent workshops. So these are some of the titles of the parent workshops that we offer. They are offered virtually at this time, even though the pictures show in person. We look forward to returning to in-person offerings, but we do have a lot of workshops that are available to families that have children younger than the age of 2. And at this time, those children we know it is not recommended that they wear masks. They are not vaccinated. So we want to provide these workshops for all families. So we do offer them virtually. We like to focus on the whole child. We like to focus on health, safety, nutrition. So these are some of the opportunities that we provide to families by working with outside agencies to come in and provide supports to families. We have Maricopa County Public Health. They are currently actually starting next week. They're providing an in-person class and a virtual class to families with children aged birth to 5 to provide health and nutrition supports and information. We know the value of physical activity for children nowadays, with many children doing so much online or on tablets, on phones. We know that we need to support families with that value of active activity. So we want to provide easy supports, things that with materials they have available at home. By providing these classes, they get new ideas of things that they can do with their children to benefit them in a physical way. We also have First Teeth First come in and do clinics for families with children birth to 5, where they receive free dental screenings. These screenings are also available for expectant mothers, and they are free of cost to families. They are funded by First things first. And we will be hosting one of these clinics in March. So we will be advertising that widely. Once again, available to families with children birth to 5, prior to kindergarten, and expectant mothers who can receive those screenings. We also have Phoenix Children's Hospital that they come in and provide a workshop for water safety. Children actually receive life jackets. Parents receive door alarms so that they can protect their children from the dangers of water. They also learn supervisory skills so that they are on alert and supervising their children around water, especially pools in the summer and at other times in Phoenix. And we also have monthly cafecitos. Our cafecitos are the first Friday of every month. We just hosted our February cafecito, and we bring in guest speakers who specialize in areas of interest to families with young children. So some of those topics might include AZIP, Arizona Early Intervention Program, where we have a guest speaker who explains to families the steps, the process, for families to know how to navigate AZIP services and what that process looks like and how it works. We also have child find speakers come in to show families how to navigate the child find system, to have their child screened, to have services to move forward for services for their children if they qualify. We also have Arizona, the Maricopa County court system, or also the Maricopa County Attorney's Office come in and provide information about internet safety for children and families. We have guest speakers that come in and talk about safety in the home. So many different topics that are available for families that really help all children, but the talks are usually geared specific to children that are younger. We know that 90% of the brain develops by the time children reach the age of 5 and enter school. So we not only want to provide classes and opportunities for families to build those early skills, but we also want to build family connections. So because we know that the importance of those experiences, those early experiences, actually contribute to how that brain develops and the strength of those connections that are happening in the brain. So we want to build those family experiences by offering opportunities for whole families to participate in activities, classes, events that we offer. So we do have, which I mentioned earlier, the family literacy nights. Those are virtual, and actually we really want to keep those virtual for as long as possible, because we have found by doing surveys with families that they appreciate being able to join from home in the evening. It's easier for dads to join from home in the evening. It's easier for whole families, grandparents to participate. And you'll see a picture of some of the things some pictures that families have shared with us afterwards. They are thematic evenings. We provide materials for families so that they have everything they need to participate in breakout rooms with math, music, early literacy, games, and activities that families do together. We also have the Arizona Science Center that come in on the first Saturday of every month, or almost every month. They actually provide classes geared for preschool age children. So these classes are available for children aged 3 to 5, and any sibling can participate up to the age of 8. Those classes are most appropriate for those ages 3 through 8. Those are provided at the community center, and you can see a picture at the top there of families doing some of those STEAM-related activities for young children. We also partner with Unite for Literacy, and we provide families with books that they can enjoy at home. They're mailed directly to families at home, and those books are bilingual in nature so that entire families can enjoy in that reading with children, to children. And then follow up with an activity that is inspired through the book so that they're actually doing hands-on things with their children and reinforcing that love of reading, because we want all children to start off with that love of reading so that they want to read. And when they go to school, they feel successful already before they ever enter a kindergarten. Another important thing that the Family Resource Center provides for families is referrals. We provide referrals to community resources, to agencies and organizations in the Maricopa County area and beyond that support families. So our staff, we are bilingual. We provide, they're very highly trained, and they also live in the community. So we're very aware of any type of supports that families may need. I'm going to enter in the chat after I'm finished speaking, which won't be much longer here. I'll enter our intake form. It is available through our webpage as well. And we provide this to families so that they can let us know what their needs are, and then we connect with them personally from there. But you can, if you're interested in any, getting our newsletter, connecting with a community liaison personally, that way we can find out what the needs are and provide those referrals to resources more specific to needs that might be wanted by your family. And this is my contact information. I know Allison probably added contact information also in the chat for the center. We are available all week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. You can always leave a message. We will follow up the next day, but we are available to support families. If you have a child that is beyond the age of 5 and you still need resources, community referrals, we can provide those. That's not a problem for us to help families beyond the age of 5 as well when it comes to referrals or supports that you may need or want in the community. Thank you so much for your time today. If there's anything we can do to support you, please let us know. And also, please be a referral for us. Provide our information to families that you may know with young children. Thanks so much. And I will stop sharing here.
Betsy, thank you so much for all of the information you shared with us this morning. The Family Resource Center is an invaluable resource for our entire community. And I think we all learn every time you talk about the different systems you have in place for our community and our families. There was one question in the chat. It was from a parent, and the parent wanted to know if there's an age limit on the playroom at the Family Resource Center.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's a great question. Currently, what we're doing with the playroom right now is reserving it for families. So if you, so it is open to all ages. Just keep in mind that most of the materials are very open-ended, so they would accommodate many different ages. But some of them are, I would say, the manipulatives that are available would be things that you might see in preschool classrooms as well. So like open-ended, and we are available to any age group in a family. If you interact with other families on a regular basis and you're comfortable around them, it is fine to make an appointment for more than one family at a time, as long as you are interacting with them on a regular basis. And that is just part of our mitigation strategy right now to keep families safe. We do have a mask policy that we follow as well for children aged above the age of 2 and all adults. I hope that answers the question. If not, please reach out to me personally and I will provide more information.
Betsy, thank you so much.
You're
We
welcome.
are running about maybe 14 minutes behind this morning. And we want to make sure that you know that we're going to run continuously. We will not stop. But if you need to take a break, please take a break and rejoin us. Raising Special Kids, Angelica will be speaking with us next, and following Angelica will be Ray James for Child Find. Angelica, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. All right. Thank you so much for allowing us to participate with you this morning. It is my pleasure to participate in the annual Pendergast Resource Fair. Muy buenos días a todos. Es mi placer para estar aquí con todos ustedes esta mañana. I am from Raising Special Kids. Our organization is the Statewide Parent Training Information Center. We help and support families that have children with any kinds of delays, challenges, or disabilities between the ages of 0 and 26. Sometimes even a little bit after, because ultimately our children never stop being our children. Our mission at Raising Special Kids is strengthening families and systems of care to improve outcomes for children with special health care needs and disabilities. These are the 4 main programs that our organization offers support with, and by far the first is my favorite. So I'm a mom of 3 fabulously rambunctious boys. My oldest son is 16. He's a junior in high school and he has cerebral palsy. My middle son is 15, he has ADHD, and then my youngest kiddo has autism and ADHD. So I'm on a variety of journeys all at once. But the first program that I'm about to discuss was very helpful to me in the beginning of my journey. So my son was about 1.5 years when he got his diagnosis of cerebral palsy, and it was very challenging because I had nobody in my family that ever had a child with a disability, let alone cerebral palsy. And so as I was navigating, my friends and my family did their best to be able to support me in my journey, but that support felt a lot like pity to me. So I kind of shut down and I stopped sharing what it felt like having all kinds of strangers come to my house and people call my phone and just feeling very overwhelmed. So when my son was making the transition from Arizona early intervention into developmental preschool, I had decided to get connected with somebody via our Parent-to-Parent program and have the opportunity of matching up or being matched up with another parent that has a child with the same or similar diagnosis. I really lucked out because this parent has a son with the same diagnosis, but is 10 years older. So she had already been there where I was currently building my blocks. And not only was the biggest piece that I received from the program was being that, receiving validation that it was okay to feel how I was going to feel and really not know everything, but really provided me with those tools of a collaboration so that I could understand how to advocate for my child's needs in the school system and really be that collaborative partner. But I can talk on and on about this program, but just know that if you are ever interested in being matched up with a parent that has a child with the same or similar diagnosis, and it's not just for new diagnoses, it can also be for those challenging transitions, middle school to high school and high school to adulthood and everything in between. We offer accurate and authoritative information related to the child's disability and special healthcare condition. It doesn't matter the question, we're here to support, no matter how small or how large. Everyone at Raising Special Kids is either a family member or a parent of a child with a disability. So no matter who you talk to, you're always going to speak to someone who understands. We do special education consultations. That's sitting down with the parent and helping them understand their child's IEP. Sometimes it may be preparing for an upcoming IEP meeting so that the parent can display their concerns in a collaborative manner, or recovering from a recent IEP meeting that happened because they may not have understood what was all discussed and everything that's going to be happening moving forward. We do a variety of trainings free of charge, offered in English and in Spanish on various topics, and problem resolution services. We offer education and coaching to parents to learn the effective methods of their child's challenging behaviors. And we offer that support in a variety of ways. We do have a program called Positive Family Coaching where we are offering family support to families that have children enrolled in the community behavioral health system. When families reach out to us, they can expect confidentiality. Regardless of where you are in the journey with your child, it's nice to know that everything's going to stay in one place and that you're not going to be judged for it. connection to the various community resources, whether that be DD, Arizona Long-Term Care, and the various other systems in the community, opportunities for training on a variety of topics. Everything we do is 100% free, and connection to other parents such as myself or one of my colleagues who are informed and experienced and ready to assist in problem solving. If I'm going too fast, I do apologize. So this is our multi-tiered system of family support. So at the very base, that's our parent training. We have our newsletters that go out quarterly on a variety of different topics, and those are offered in English and in Spanish. We have our Monday memo, what's going on in the disability community in Arizona and across the US. Systems of information, raising special kids information that we provide in the overviews that we provide, and effective parent advocacy skills, because we at Raising Special Kids believe that parents are the strongest voice a child is ever going to have until the time comes when and if appropriate, that the child decides to take that voice and that power back. At our next level, we have individual problem solving and helping that parent prepare for any upcoming meetings, whether that be an IEP meeting, maybe a meeting with a DDD coordinator, any kind of meeting that the parent may have coming up that they kind of just want to make sure that they have everything that they need to be that collaborative partner in the system. System navigation and targeted resource dissemination. And at the very top tier, we have our parent mentoring, really reminding that parent that they're not alone, that regardless of which one of my colleagues, myself, or anyone that I work with, that they be connected with, that they always have the opportunity to reach back out to us. We do offer something called an IEP Partner, where we do attend meetings as a partner, never as an advocate. Parent coaching and mentoring for behavioral challenges. The way that our support looks like is that we listen with empathy. We assist with prioritizing the family's concerns, because sometimes we have parents that have multiple concerns all at once. So we help them prioritize, okay, what needs to be addressed first. Recommend training when necessary, connecting parents to community resources, may offer one-on-one consultation when necessary. Right now, due to the pandemic, all of our supports are virtual. Assisting families with the next steps, encourage that collaboration regarding what system that they're working with for their child, and assist in problem solving and dispute resolution. These are a few of the workshops that we offer. We have our special education eligibility, information about IEPs, transition processes. We discuss about AZIP, or Arizona Early Intervention, transition to developmental preschool, and then that transition to kindergarten. Our high school transition class really talks about how parents can prepare in their child's freshman year, or whenever the transition plan comes up in their child's journey in high school, and how to prepare the child for that successful transition from high school. We help families to learn how to find services and refer them to the different sources of information in the community, and support them in systems of care, as I've mentioned with DDD, Arizona Long-Term Care, applying for food stamps, any kind of services that may be needed via DES and otherwise. We're teaching them to learn the effective techniques of advocacy. Here is just a snapshot of the variety of trainings that we offer. As I'd mentioned in a couple of slides prior, early childhood education talks about the 3 steps: Arizona Early Intervention, transition to developmental preschool, and then the jump to kindergarten. Understanding the 504, IEP training talks about the parent collaboration piece, and really breaks up the document piece by piece so that the parents can understand what significance each section of the IEP is and does for our children. Positive behavior support, that's one of my favorites, because it really helps us as parents understand that behavior is a form of communication. There is no such thing as a bad child. There's good behavior and there's challenging behavior, but ultimately the behavior is not a definition of a child. High school transition is the one I was talking about, how we talk about how to prepare our child for the high school transition. Personally, I always like to talk to my parents about having the conversation their freshman year, because high school passes so fast. Turning 18 Legal Options is the class that we have that talks about guardianship and the variety of levels available for guardianship, bullying prevention, and talking to your child about sexuality. This is not a class about the birds and the bees. What this class is about is how parents of children with special needs can be more comfortable having conversations about their children, about sexuality. There's a lot of parents out there that feel that this is a topic that doesn't need to be discussed simply because their child has a disability. But it is just as anyone else, if you have a child that's typical, you also need to have a conversation about boundaries and all that other fun stuff with a child that has special needs as well. We have a training where we collaborate with the with local medical students in the area where, and I would imagine this looks a little bit different now that we've been in a pandemic for a little bit, but typically in the past, what would happen is that we would have medical students come to our organization. They would receive like an overview about our organization, as well as information about the special needs community and parents. And then they would spend the afternoon with a family that has a child with special needs so that they can help understand in how their decisions in the future when they're in the medical field is going to impact families that have children with special needs. This is just a little snapshot about our parent-to-parent program, the one I was talking about matching one parent with another parent that has a child with the same and similar diagnosis. This is always done at request. We never do it based off our own recognizance. We wait for the parent to go ahead and express that they are interested. Parent leaders offer support and guidance, and this is an opportunity for the parent to be matched up and have that perspective of another parent that has had a shared journey. We train our parent leaders, the ones providing this support in our parent-to-parent program, with confidentiality, accountability, professionalism, ethics, building from strengths. No story is free of challenges, but we really want to focus on the points of our story with our children of how we got over those barriers, whether it was challenging in getting services for our children, or maybe in the beginning of our diagnosis, who helped us and how we got through that. Here are the various other ways that our parent leaders support us. They do the parent-to-parent mentoring. We do parent panels. That's going out to local school districts and colleges and providing that perspective of the special needs parent. And it's really, I've had the opportunity of doing it a couple of times in Pendergast in person. And it's always a joy because not only do we discuss how to really bring that parent in to be collaborative when they may be on a part of their journey where they're not really ready to talk about their child having a disability or challenges. But also we talk about from the parent perspective of the barriers that we've had in navigating with our children, and what kind of collaboration tips that were helpful for us as parents. We also utilize our parent leaders in policy development and review, and we utilize them in our training curriculum and the materials that we prepare. All right, and I just wanted really quickly, I wanted to show you guys, this is our contact information. I believe our contact information is also being shared in the chat, but I also wanted to show you guys a little bit about our website. I can't see anyone right now because I am sharing, but can you see the website?
Yes, we can.
Oh, fabulous. Okay. So if there's a training that you would like to be interested in observing virtually, you could go ahead and come here, and it'll have all the upcoming dates and times that you could go ahead and participate. And then if you were interested in looking at this in Spanish, then you would just come up here and it'll give you all the options coming up that you could go ahead and register for. And I just wanted to go very quickly to our resource page because they're always adding new information there. So here we have information about education, healthcare, behavior issues, transition to adulthood, COVID resources, And lastly, what I wanted to share is if the parents are unable, or excuse me, if you all are unable to attend one of our live trainings, we also have a training video series. 10 things to know before your child's next IEP, Introduction to Positive Behavior Support, telemedicine, in the case that you've never really had the opportunity to participate in a telemedicine appointment, and a few others, and you're able to look at these at your leisure. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing at this point. Thank you so much again for the opportunity. It is always a pleasure to have the opportunity to collaborate with you all, and I see a lot of familiar faces, so I'm just happy to be here with y'all.
Angelica, thank you so much for your time this morning. Our relationship with Raising Special Kids started several years ago as they came in to host our parent nights. And we hosted several years of parent nights, which we will do again as soon as we're able to do that again face-to-face. But going to their website, there are also so many resources that parents can use prior to going into an IEP meeting. They've also been wonderful partners with us as we're navigating the process with parents, helping parents to understand what we're offering and helping them to communicate with us and us to communicate with them. So we're very grateful for the relationship that we have with Raising Special Kids. The time is 11:04. Please be aware that we're going to continue on a loop today. So if you need to take a break, feel free to step away and come back and rejoin us. Ray James will be presenting on Child Find next, and then Sounds of Autism will be presenting after. Ray, are you ready?
I am ready. Okay. Now, every time I do my little share screen, I get a little messed up because everything jumps. Okay. So my name is Ray, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Child Find and the process of it. So Child Find is really to find students who need help to help them be successful. Child Find is not just something that Pendergrass Elementary School District does, but the United States does. So whether you live in Arizona or you have family or anyone in different states, this is all federally mandated for schools to or local PEA.
Ray, I apologize, but we can't see your screen.
No? Okay, thank you. Let me stop and try something. Let me move around. Let me try this. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, now let me move around just a little bit. Go into, okay, are we good?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. And that's easier for me to look at as well. So thank you for letting me know. Okay, so again, Child Find is about finding children and helping them be successful. This isn't just something that our school district does, but all school districts and public education agencies participate in. And so they're required to locate, identify, and evaluate children who may have disabilities within their local boundaries. So the students there, the children that this applies to, are children aged birth through 21 years of age. These are students who may be highly mobile. These are children that are enrolled in schools who are suspected to have a disability, even though they are advancing from grade to grade. This also includes children who participate in private school education and also students who are homeschooled. And then you can see down here, just a little asterisk, this is also applies to charter schools. So this next page or slide goes over the referral and as it varies through age. So students who may have a suspected disability when they're either birth through 2 years and 10 and a half months of age, we refer them to Arizona Early Intervention Program. At 2 years and 10 and a half months of age to 5-year-olds, students get referred to their local public education agency or the district in which they reside in. And then at 5 through 21 years of age, the local school that they attend completes the referral. When you go through a child find screening, some of these screenings can be informal and informal as well. The team, once a referral is made, looks at just, you know, the overall development of the child. And so this is done through observations and family interviews. The teams will review medical information and the development of the child. The areas that the child find screening looks at are hearing and vision. So we're gonna look at the results of hearing and vision reports. We're also going to look at cognitive or academic development. So this includes the child's perception. We look at their memory, how their language is developing, how they think, and also how they problem solve. Communication is also looked at. So within the area of communication, we're looking at that language development, how students understand information and how they express information. We also look at their motor development. So are they able to run, skip, jump? How do they hold pencils? We look at that information too. And then their social and behavior development. And then the last area that we also screen for is adaptive development. So this is just the basic life skills the child uses every day. This initial screening process is just a kind of a quick overview of how the child is doing in each of these areas. And then I did list some of our Pendergast preschool child find screening information. So if you live within our district or you know someone within our district who may need a child find screening, you're able to refer them, or you can have the family reach out to us as well. But whether you live in our school district or any school district, all districts are required to have this process. And so you can reach out to your local school district for the same sort of support. Okay. And that's it, guys. So thank you for allowing me to just speak a little bit about what Child Find is.
Ray, thank you so much. Ray is our Assistant Director for ESS and the Director for Early Childhood in our district. She is the person who coordinates our preschool services. So please make sure that you use her information if you have children who are entering preschool or children who are coming upon the age of 3 that you may want to have screened for possible services. Ray, and I don't know if Jessica's in here or not, but Ray or Jessica, both of those folks can assist you. And we did list their information in our presentation as well. Thanks so much, Ray. And next we have Sounds of Autism. Bernadette and Cricket, are you guys ready?
We are. Let me pull up my slides. And while I'm doing that, I just want to say thank you so much to Pendergast School District and Child Find, because that's how my little girl was identified. And it's been, it made a world of difference. So thank you for all that you guys do. Let me see if I can pull up my screen here. Bear with me one moment. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Can you see it in normal view or presentation view?
It looks like we may be looking at your slides currently.
Presentation, or is it just a single slide, or do you see notes?
We see notes.
Okay, thank you. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Bear with me one moment, please. And thank you for your patience. Let's see how this will work.
Now we see presentation mode.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so again, thank you so much for having us. We are Sounds of Autism, and we are very excited to join you as always. We love all the presenters that are here. They are, many of them are partners of ours as well. I'm Bernadette Smith, and did it go to the next slide? Because I'm having a
Not
little
yet.
technical difficulty.
No.
Not yet.
Okay. How about now?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Bear with me one moment.
Technology is having a Saturday.
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to try to pull it up?
No, because there were a couple changes. Bear with me one moment. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me do this a different way.
Bernadette, that's quite okay.
Technology, right?
I am not the person that ever does this in front of public. So I think when people do this, you're extremely brave. And we certainly can wait for you to pull
Thank
up your
you.
presentation.
So let's see if this works now. I'm going to. Okay, what do you see now?
It's
It's
back
in
to the
presentation mode.
presenter. Yeah, presenter view.
Okay. And how about now? Is it just our slides?
We see your slides.
Okay, fabulous. Well, let's see if we can make this work. Okay, so I'm Bernadette Smith. I am a mom of autism, and we adopted Isabella at birth. And how is this going now?
We see your notes.
I'm not so sure what's going on, but give me 1 second. Try one more time.
Sometimes if you just hit like the arrow to move to the next slide, that may, the arrow keys, that may help move.
Yeah, I think, let's do this. I'm gonna go through a different route. Do you guys want to move on to the next presenter, and then I will present right after it so I can get this up? I don't know if that works for you.
Sean, are you ready?
I'm always ready, Gwen.
I love it.
Okay, Sean.
Thank
So Sean,
you.
Sean's ready to present with DDD. He participates with us every year, and DDD is such an invaluable resource for our families. They provide that wraparound service for us, which is so important. We offer the educational component during the school day. We have the offer of FAPE, but our kids have their needs 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it's also important for us to have partnerships and to make sure our parents know where those partnerships are and who's out there to assist them when they're not in school. And Sean's a big piece of that. Sean, are you ready?
I am. Let's do this. All right. Let me see if I can get this up. I won't give you guys the full presentation today. We'll go over some basics of some things that are going to be helpful. How to apply, what our services are kind of about. And I'll go over a couple of like the little bit of eligibility. Excuse me 1 second. My little tab bar here is in the way of my present button. Oops. I guess I could just move the bar out of the way, huh? That works. All right. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Perfect. So I like to give just a little bit of an overview on AZIP as well. They're our sister program that kind of offers help to those kiddos 0 to 3 years old. So that 0 to 36 months, those infants and toddlers. We talk a little bit about how DES itself is the umbrella organization for all these other different divisions that we work under. So the Division of Developmental Disabilities being one of them. You've also got your adult and aging services, Your benefits and medical eligibility, that's where you would get your food stamps or your TANF or anything like that you might need. The Division of Child Support Services, that one's pretty self-explanatory just because they process all those child support claims and all of that other fun stuff there. It's not really that fun. Division of Developmental Disabilities, or DDD, which is where we reside, followed by that early intervention program. So those 0 to 3 kiddos, and we'll talk a little bit about why that program is a little more important when we get to the DDD eligibility, as well as that Division of Employment and Rehabilitative Services, where you would see a lot of our friends from VR, or that vocational rehab, as well as RSA, a lot of those rehabilitative services for employment. So AZIP has a mission, and essentially they're building those at-home supports for those kiddos 0 to 3, really kind of making sure that they're learning and at-home environments. It's generally for those kiddos 0 to 3 who have not reached their 50% developmental milestones in any of these domains. Couple I like to note on here, because we will talk a little bit about the DDD eligibility. Here is the born substance dependent is a new one. So those kiddos who might have had a mother who was addicted to some sort of substance, they would be an automatic referral to this program. Team-based early intervention services, generally they'll assign a team lead. I'm going to skip past some of the rest of the details on this just because it's not really DDD involved and your kiddos are school age already. And I'll make sure everyone gets a copy of this presentation. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, you can always reach out to our friends over at Raising Special Kids. They are our central referral agency, or you can reach out directly to that the DES program for Arizona Early Intervention, or my guy Ed Schomer, who is absolutely fantastic. He'll be able to answer any of your questions, DDD or otherwise. He's been all over. He's been a special needs teacher. He's done my job, as well as now he's the head of the AZIP outreach. So we'll get to where I've been for almost 10 years now, that DDD mission, and meeting the people I have, working with the individuals that I have, the people who really kind of have these struggles every day that are just out there doing their best. It's really kind of gotten me to love this community and believe in our mission, which is we like to empower Arizonans with developmental disabilities to lead self-directed, healthy, and meaningful lives. So we'll just skim over this. This is the office that I'm out of, called the Office of Individual and Family Affairs, lovingly known as OIFA, which is a fun one if you stub your toe. Out of that office is my office, our Justice Region, our Department of Child Safety advocates, our behavioral health advocates, as well as our Bachelor and Master Social Work internship program, which I think really gives us a chance to instill a sense of love and compassion for the folks that we serve. So some quick prereqs with DDD eligibility. One, you must be an Arizona resident, which means that the person applying for those services must reside within the state of Arizona, believe it or not. Two, you must have lawful status in the United States, and that's only the individual applying for services. We're not looking at adults, we're not looking at parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, any extended family, just that individual applying for services. Three, we're looking for that proof of qualifying diagnosis that we'll talk about here in just a moment, as well as proof of the substantial function limitation, and there are 7 of those. So those 4 documented disabilities that we do look at, that autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, cerebral palsy, also known as CP, epilepsy, or intellectual or cognitive disabilities, those must have manifest prior to the age of 18 to be considered by state statute a developmental disability. So what that means is if they maybe didn't get diagnosed until after the age of 18, because we do serve 3 on to the end of life in our DDD program, we'd have to see some sort of documentation showing that that disability or those difficulties had manifest themselves prior to the age of 18. The exception here is any of those kiddos who might be brought in under the age of 6 for our at-risk program, being that they are at risk for one of those developmental disabilities we just spoke about, or that they demonstrate significant developmental delays in some of those domains. So, state statute is a little bit strict on who is eligible and not eligible for the program. And a lot of it's based on the diagnostic criteria. For our autism category, generally we'll see the state statutes require a comprehensive evaluation, which essentially means that it goes over every bit and piece of who that individual is, from their education to their behavior to their medical status, to arrive at that disability diagnosis of autism. You'll notice here in our category that it's a licensed psychiatrist, a licensed psychologist, a developmental pediatrician, or a child neurologist with training in autism. None of those are currently school professionals, and that's because the state of Arizona requires a medical diagnosis of autism. For intellectual disability, it's a little bit different just because school psychologists and licensed psychologists, as well as psychometrists working under school or licensed psychologists, can administer some of those IQ testing and really kind of create a comprehensive evaluation surrounding that to arrive at that intellectual disability category. Epilepsy and cerebral palsy are a little more clear just because we generally look for that diagnosis from a licensed physician or a neurologist in one of those comprehensive evaluations. Oops. For eligibility redetermination, those happen at the age of 6 and 18, and that's why that at-risk category prior to the age of 6 is so important. Generally at the age of 6, with that redetermination for eligibility, we will be looking for that solidified diagnosis of one of those 4, so autism, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, or cognitive disability, as well as 3 of the 7 functional limitations that we're going to kind of go over here in a moment. Whereas at the age of 18, we're looking at that transition into adulthood, and we're looking for mostly those functional limitations, unless, of course, for some odd reason, that individual does not have that solidified diagnosis. Generally, they should, though, if they've come into the program after the age of 6, or if they've been redetermined at the age of 6. So if circumstances change for an individual, though, maybe they don't need the services, maybe they are doing really well, there is always the possibility of redetermination at the will of the division. So for the functional limitations for DDD, we need to see substantial functional limitations in 3 or more of the following major life areas. And a lot of people ask, what is a substantial functional limitation? And it's any sort of limitation that requires care above and beyond what can be provided by those natural caregivers. And those domains that we look at are self-care. So whether or not that individual can, complete their self-care task, brushing hair, teeth, putting on clothes, making sure that they're safe, and all that other stuff that goes involved with self-care. Receptive and expressive language. So receptive, whether or not the individual can understand things being said to them, and expressive, can that individual express their wants and needs in an effective manner? Self-direction, we look at whether or not the individual can make decisions that are going to affect their everyday life in a positive and safe way. Mobility, we're looking at whether or not the individual has some sort of mobility tools, such as the canes here, like this little boy is using. I've seen wheelchairs and leg braces. There's a lot of really cool adaptive equipment out there right now. If you get a chance, check out that Abilities Expo that comes to Phoenix every year. It's really cool to see. And you might get to see the wheelchair Cardinals play, and they're amazing. Learning, we're looking at not whether or not the individual has an individualized education plan at the school, or maybe a multidisciplinary education team report through that district, but whether or not they can kind of learn tasks and maintain that skill set. If we see some regression, there might be a deficit in learning there, just caused by some sort of physical or cognitive capacity. Capacity for independent living and economic self-sufficiency. Capacity for independent living, we look at whether or not that individual can complete the daily tasks that are really going to make sure that they can maintain a safe, clean, and healthy home environment. And economic self-sufficiency, we're looking at generally whether or not that individual can maintain gainful employment. Do they have a concept of money? Some of our kiddos might not have the cognitive capacity to understand finances. And that's something we like to work towards. So this is just kind of an interesting slide to look at. It gives sort of a membership breakdown. We're at almost 47,000 members statewide. That first category being our biggest with intellectual disability. And I believe that's just because of pathology, whether it be genetic or by way of traumatic brain injury or any of those sort of different categories that can kind of come down into that intellectual disability category. Next, we're looking at autism, about 32% of our population. That at-risk category that could go either way. They could age out of the program, or they could end up with one of our 4 diagnoses and end up full-time involved in the program. As well as our cerebral palsy at about 8% and epilepsy at about 4%. So you're ready to apply for DDD. What do you need? You need a signed application. I'll make sure that I send over the digital copies. If you ever need a paper copy, you can always go to a DES office and have them print you one out. 2, we're looking at that legal documentation, right? So that US birth certificate, that passport, that US citizenship or immigration documentation, or often issued by some of our tribal nations, that certificate of Indian blood, which works as residential citizenship for the entire North American continent. 3, Health insurance card, if applicable. Not a lot of, or some of our families might not have that private health insurance, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that's on file if we do have it. 4, documentation showing one of those 4 qualifying disabilities. And then 5, this one's kind of important because after the age of 18, if the family does not have guardianship, that individual is considered a legal adult. They are responsible for signing their paperwork, choosing their services, and everything kind of goes along with that. So they can have a release of information signed for that family member to provide that information. But really, we got to make sure that if we do have that documented legal responsibility, that we have it on file. So you're ready to submit your completed packet. You have your medical documentation showing your documented disability. You have your school paperwork, your behavioral health diagnoses and paperwork. You have all the bits and pieces of information documented that arrive at that point of showing that that individual is eligible for DDD. Now what? Well, you can email it directly to dddapply@azdes.gov. Or if you're like myself and you don't have a scanner at home, you can drop it off at any of our DDD offices and they will scan it for you and give you back your originals and send it over to one of our 5 eligibility departments as listed below. You can even use the faxes now. We actually just started using an eFax program that allows us to receive our faxes virtually and digitally instead of just through the printers, which is leagues ahead of where I thought we'd be with DDD at this point. So application pack, what if you have questions before you apply? You can always email dddapply@azdes.gov and they'll get you over to an eligibility specialist or a supervisor and really make sure that you're getting that information. Or you can call that DDD Customer Service Center at 844-770-9500. Before I log off today, I'll make sure that information's in the chat for you all, as well as my contact information. So after DDD application, all of our newly eligible DDD members will be screened and referred to the Arizona Long-Term Care System. Here's where a lot of the confusion comes into play when it comes to Altex, which is that long-term care system. DDD and Altex are 2 very separate programs, but we work together. DDD essentially provides the case management and service assessment, whereas Altex provides the Medicaid funding for those services and those assessments and everything else. That way that they can pay for the therapies or anything else that comes alongside this program. So we'll talk a little bit about the eligibility criteria or the categories for DDD, that first one being DD only. And it essentially means that the individual isn't medically nor financially eligible for that Altex program. And they'll receive as a DDD member that support coordination, that case manager, as well as community resources, but they will be responsible for finding their own health insurance. Our next category is targeted DDD. It essentially means as a DDD member, they will receive that support coordination, those medical care and behavioral health care and children's rehabilitative services through one of those 7 Access Complete Care programs, that Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System. As a fully Altex member, they're both financially and medically eligible for that Altex program, meaning they receive the Access Healthcare plan, either United Healthcare or Mercy Care through our DDD plans, or if they do have that tribal nation involvement, they could receive services through that tribal health plan. Services and supports from DDD are respite, habilitation, and attendant care as assessed for. So we talked a little bit, your support coordinator is your case manager, line into DDD, they'll explain rights, they'll facilitate that service planning, and then they'll identify those services and supports to put in place for those needs. Just a couple of these services I like to go over that are the most assessed for, generally respite. If you're involved at all in behavioral health, you'll know this one. And it essentially provides a trained caregiver to supervise and care for that individual, while the primary caregiver, does something for themselves as far as self-care is concerned. To give them sort of a break from some of their responsibilities so they can go and take a nap or a shower or go on a date with their significant other if need be. Habilitation is probably my favorite service in that it is so creatively bound. You can really get down to the bits and pieces of a task and assign those as goals and build up those skills to teach an individual any of those things they need to be more independent, whether that be in the community or at home. Attending care is similar in that it is task-based, but it's mostly meant for the caregiver to come in and complete that task for our members who might not be cognitively or physically able to do so. And it also assists with maintaining personal cleanliness, activities of daily living, any of those things that are going to be helpful in maintaining an independent living environment for that person. So we have a ton of other services. I'll make sure that you all get this link here. That way that you can spend all day looking at them if you want. But just some that I like to hit on here, those day treatment and training, those are after school programs. Residential services, we do work closely with the housing department as well as our own internal residential services for contracted group homes, IDLAs, or sorry, individually designed living arrangements, things like that. Therapies, we offer speech, physical, and occupational therapy. Shout out to Vincent for presenting on occupational therapy back when I worked with him on a presentation. Home modifications, and this last one that's been great for some of our members who might be a little more medically involved is at home nursing. So G-tube suctioning, any of that. So when a child's not eligible, we work with a lot of community partners, you know, the ARC. I like to mention Raising Special Kids because they are our central referral agency for AZIP, and they do have a great family and peer mentor program that really helps some of our families who are kind of working through this process as well. The Autism Society support groups of Greater Phoenix, there's some really cool ones on there. I'm hoping to get involved in the Lego Club soon. All right, this last one, I'll just mention that the DDD Customer Service Center is available if you guys have any questions. Again, I'll put that number in the chat for you. Or if you're shy like I am, you can always reach out to DDD Customer Service Center at azdes.gov, and they will assist you as best as possible. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My name is Sean Thompson. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the state of Arizona DDD program. Text me, call me, whatever works for you guys. And please, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Sean. I think I'm getting some feedback. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Thank you so much, Sean. DDD has been a great partner with us. All of our psychologists, our speech language paths, our OTs, any of our evaluators understand the process of DDD and often let our parents know that this service is available to them if their students have certain eligibilities for service. So it's been a fabulous partnership. We often have providers from DDD attend our IEP meetings. They educate us, we educate them. It is a fabulous relationship. Sean, thank you again for being here with us today.
And just a note too, Jamie did resign in November, so I'm it for community engagement right now.
I apologize,
Okay.
Sean. That was
That's okay.
some old contact information. I sent you a message.
Totally cool. I'll
I
put my stuff in here for you.
Thanks, Sean. Bernadette, Cricket, are you guys ready?
We are ready. It's just the sharing that won't go, but let's just see how this goes now.
Okay.
Okay, and how is it?
It's
Are we in
in the presenter, yeah.
Is
But
it
you
in
know,
present?
Bernadette, you can see enough of it, you know, if you want to just leave it there, if we're not able to get it up, we can still see your picture. It just shows your notes, but
Okay.
it's up to you.
Okay, so we are Sounds of Autism. I'm Bernadette Smith. I'm Director of Community and Corporate Outreach. And you said you can see it in presenter still?
We can
Yes,
see.
ma'am.
How about now?
It's still, yeah. Either way, yeah.
Can you start it from the beginning?
That's what I'm going to do right now. You know, I had this problem yesterday, and I thought it was worked through, so I really do apologize. This is not fun, as you know. And I'm going to turn off presenter mode first before I show it. How about that? Okay, sharing again. What do you see? I
It's
can't
the
see.
same. It's the same, yeah.
But Bernadette, I believe if you just share from here, we can see your main slide very clearly.
Right here, you can see this?
Yeah, we can see that very clearly. If you want to
Okay.
just flip through your slide.
I would
back
be
like
happy
this.
to do that. That works for me. So I'm Bernadette Smith. I am the Director of Community and Corporate Outreach. And we adopted our daughter at birth, and we knew she had some type of delay, but we didn't know what. We know today that it's called autism. Her mom also had that a delay, and back then it was called mild mind intellect. So I do what I do because I know how hard it is for families to live life on the spectrum. My role here with Sounds of Autism is to seek service providers, work with community leaders, educators, first responders, and help to bridge those gaps for families so that they can get the services that they need. We also work with volunteers and interns. Our mission is to integrate families and children of autism back into society through love and support. Families are the love of our mission, and everybody else is a support. That means community leaders, first responders of all types, educators, as well as interns and volunteers. Autism spectrum disorder is a blind epidemic. 1 in 44 8-year-old children have autism, and that is 2018 data. That only covers 11 states. So we don't even know what the statistics are for children younger than 8 years old or older than 8 years old. So we do believe that it is higher. Our business model is creating signature empowerment. And this business model is something that we use for everything, whether we're working with our teams, whether we're working with interns or volunteers, and it combines a higher level of education with business solutions, because our goal is to educate the student to get them to their highest potential so that we can empower them so that they can train others. We know that sometimes a habit takes 21 to 28 days. Sometimes for individuals with a developmental delay or at risk, it can be 0 to 50 days. Sometimes it can be 0 to never, but education is key. And if we can get them to start applying what they've learned, this will empower anyone. For those at risk, we want to give them the tools that they need to reach their highest potential so that they could carry these skills over into job skills and eventually into life skills so that they could live as independently a life as possible. So often we as parents put caps on our children because we're protective. I know for me, I'm a helicopter mom, but I want to make sure that I'm giving Isabella, my daughter, every opportunity to reach her highest potential, because I want to make sure that she's successful when she transitions into adulthood, when she goes to apply for a job. Cricket, do you want to add anything to this slide here?
No, not at all right now. Thank you.
Our Candyland roadmap. Our Candyland roadmap was in response to the signs. We know, as mentioned previously, that 90% of a child's brain develops by age 5. That's before kindergarten. And this shapes their brain development, and it affects the rest of the experiences that they have in their life. But what are some of the signs? I know we have some families here, and with the pandemic, we all started to notice more behavioral challenges while these children were schooling online. And now we're recognizing those were the signs or behaviors that the teachers may have been talking about. And like Angelica said, there's just challenging behavior and then other behaviors. So it's never bad. So we need to really learn how to support these children. But what do some of those signs look like? Maybe avoiding eye contact. I know when Isabella was born, she looked through you instead of at you. What about response time? Sensitivity to tastes, sensitivity to touch, maybe repetitive movements. Maybe when you tell them something, instead of like if you say, did you have a fun time today? They will repeat, did you have a fun time today? That's called echolalia. So we want to be aware of these signs so that we can address them as early as possible. In response to families reaching out to us, we created this Life on a Spectrum roadmap. It was created a couple years ago, and we did this in PECs because, again, autism is a spectrum. It's called autism spectrum disorder. You see here on the map a little fortune cookie, which represents prenatal. Then you see the puberty monster with the gumdrops in their mouth. And then you see mom and dad up top saying goodbye and final farewell. And we're hoping that by the time they reach this stage, 22 years old, 26 years old, that they're going to be able to live independently. And this is really important because some individuals on a spectrum are nonverbal. Some may be verbal, but maybe they don't process as quickly. And this PECS language, which is called Picture Exchange Communication System, that's what the acronym stands for, helps individuals to see it, visualize it, and then process it. I know for my daughter Isabella, you can tell her something and it takes her a couple extra seconds to really think about what you just told her. So if you give her a visual, it's much easier for her to process. So this map, we took it, and what we did is we sat down with some moms to figure out what are milestones, what are critical stages, and we came up with 7 categories. And with these 7 categories, we know that we need to bridge the gaps for families. We have worked with the at-risk community. We work with community leaders, responders of all types, and educators. We feel that working with these communities is a comprehensive approach to bringing resources to families to support them. And we call this our acre community. And what's really important about this is we need to make sure, we believe that we need to make sure everybody is on the same page, especially during a crisis, so that we can respond with safe solutions. So that said, in 2021, we created our 2021 initiative called Unified Responder Community. Our unified initiative serves the community by unifying communities. And again, our acre community, everybody at risk, community, responders, and educators. We provide awareness, education, and safe vetted resources and support solutions because we never want to leave anyone at risk. And we also want everyone, families with families at risk that have individuals with different challenges, to know that we are here for them. Our program is 16 programs. It consists of 4 phases. Every phase serves a purpose, and we work with college volunteers to help us to bridge these gaps. It's really important to support the journey of life for any child, but especially those living on a spectrum, because if we don't have safe solutions in place and we are not all on the same page, this could be critical for everyone. We respond within 24 to 48 hours when a family reaches out to us, again, because they may be going through a crisis and we never want to leave them alone. This is a visual of our 16 programs. Our phase 1 is our core 4 survival programs, and it's really the nucleus of our programs and sets the foundation for all the other phases. And it's through these core 4 programs that we're able to unify our community. Early intervention is key, so we want to make sure that we provide these families with early intervention service providers that can meet their needs, because not every service provider is the same. So we want to make sure we give families options. So we seek and identify a number of different early intervention resources, whatever that may be, whether it's service providers, whether it's schools, whether it's different types of therapies. And then for mental and behavioral health, this is critical because this affects an individual's social, emotional well-being, the way that they learn. We know that if a child's social, emotional, and individual's social, emotional well-being is not where it needs to be, it's going to be harder for them to learn, harder for them to process. So we partner with service providers that provide these types of resources as well. We also work with first responders to provide safe crisis intervention. It's not important just to teach and work with the first responders, but it's also important to teach families what safe crisis intervention looks like, so that, again, they're on the same page, so that when a first responder responds to a family's crisis, the family knows how to interact with the first responder so that there's not any miscommunication. And we believe that that is critical. We also have our life skills, which teaches independent job and life skills. So we know how hard it is for these families to get the support they need. So we reach out to the acre community in different cities. That means we contact the mayor's office. That means that we contact all the service providers. We try to find all the mental and behavioral health service providers in each city to try and connect those dots for families so that they can understand what is available to them. So often families are traveling from one valley to the other because they don't know what exists in their own neighborhood. Now, they may not have an early intervention service provider in their city, but we know that surrounding cities will provide it to them. And we want to make sure that these cities are collaborating together so that these families never are left without the support that they need. We also work with police departments. We're working with Goodyear Police Department right now, and they're helping us to create our first responder educational platform. All of these services are complimentary. We don't charge anything for anything that we do, no matter who it is. And so because we don't charge anything and it's complimentary, we reach out to cities, to their grant department to see if we can get funding as well as through other sources. And Cricket, you are up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cricket Barrientos, founder, Sounds of Autism. Next slide, please. And I'm going to go over just a little bit about phase 1 of our survival skill program for 2022. Next slide, please. Last year, as Bernadette mentioned, we started our Boots on the Ground campaign called Unified Responders Community. We work with local colleges, ASU, we worked with Huntington University in Peoria, Maricopa Community College, specifically EMCC, alongside Brenda Nelson, who is our Director of College Programs. And Bernadette and our Director, Brenda, worked together to reach out and educate, our mayors, our police officers, our resource centers, all of these people in these communities, but then turned around and redid the exact same steps with all of our college students. We're teaching our next generation of parents and leaders quickly that this is the signs, this is what you're looking for, this is how you navigate the system in your communities. We're educating them before they become those parents and before they become those community leaders of how to grow the compassion and empathy necessary to include everybody. My son is now 19, almost 20 years old, and for the last 19 years, I've watched the system, I've been a part of the system, I've been listening to the system. We're now launching the programs that we feel are the solutions necessary to be successful. A lot of times the programs end at 22 years old when everybody's done with school and they graduate. These families now are calling me because their child sits at home online gaming all day long until mom and dad come home. Transportation navigation is not an option for them, nor do we have transportation solutions for them that are what we would call safe and vetted. So because of that, mom and dad are not okay with putting them into an Uber or things like that. So with this Boots on the Ground campaign, we're getting ahead of it. We're talking to these college students and educating them, because many of them are going to be the teachers. They're going to be people that are going to help us bring these people to us, and then support solutions like child find or raising special kids and all the different people, even Pendergast School District. We've worked with Miss Gwen for many, many years now. These are the people that we reach out to and ask for help. We have over 800, probably even more than that. I stopped counting after 800 community partners throughout the state of Arizona that we can reach out to. Those are we call them our consultants, the people that are there to give our families the guidance that they need. And this year, 2022, we've added 2 more components to finish our survival skill phase in the West Valley. And that's working with Goodyear Police Department. And she's the Director of Educational Curriculum for Litchfield School District. We've worked for her since 2011, Gina DeCoste. And she is helping us introduce our program into the preschool program all the way to high school. And we're going to be working with law enforcement. We have 2 different advisory teams. One is for crisis intervention and the other one is for life and job skill sustainability, so that we can go in and teach from the beginning of preschool how to make a bed that eventually translates into a job skill that will eventually translate into our STOP project or into a job or a college program. We're building relationships with all of these colleges to open their minds and our minds to how each other works, especially in the educational platform. We're not school teachers. I'm from business world. Bernadette's from the business world. So we're using a lot of what we've learned from the business world, and our business model has been created through just learning and listening from all of the people that we've worked with. With these programs, we go in, we teach kids safe crisis intervention. What happens if there's an active shooter on campus? What do you do? Where are the maps of the school so that our law enforcement agencies are aware of where everybody is on campus, so that if an active shooter comes on your school campus, that these officers are aware of where these kids are located, because they're going to need the extra additional help, where all the exit doors are. Practice those safe solutions so that when those things occur, that we're not doing it in the moment of, of chaos. And that's the type of stuff that's happening. Our law enforcement agencies are reaching out to us because they have so many questions about working, especially with autism, because of the processing delay and intellectual disability. And because of that, we're able to use as SPED teachers to come in and basically educate our officers of how to work with somebody nonverbal, how to work with somebody that's oversensory, what to do, what not to do. It's bridging all of those gaps that we should have been bridging 19 years ago, so that when I came to my end all be all of landing graduating, that I would have had my plan already figured out. So I figured, since I'm already working on that and we're catching up for the last 18 years, 19 years, I might as well bring everybody with me that wants to be a participant. We work with specific people because, and we call them safe embedded, because they may not have the proper tool that we need. They may not have a tool that aligns with the vision. And the only vision that I can educate people on is the one that I have. So I'm going to share that, and hopefully through that and with the people like yourselves, we need your voice to help this. We are truly just a marketing campaign for every single one of you. We have the information that you offer and we share it with our families. Yesterday, for example, I had somebody reach out to me because there was a kid that had an IEP in the school district around us that didn't have any SPED teachers teaching him anything. So the school was receiving funding for him to get the help that he needed, and there was zero help being done. And the kid was somebody that needed a little bit of extra help.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, needed a little extra help, and would call mom on her job. She would have to quit, basically leave her job for the day and go pick him up because he, the school was not able to help him. And the people that are working with him asked, is that legal? Is that not legal? Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I just put it out on Facebook. How do we help a family that's going through this? We didn't give any names or anything like that, and I can't even tell you the amount of people that have responded to this specific family. Every one of us learns from those answers. That's who Sounds of Autism is bringing your voice and everyone else's together so that we can create solutions that are sustainable, so we can stop repeating the same thing over for 19 years that needs to be addressed. Next slide, please. These are the people that we work with currently. Maricopa Community Colleges, all of them, any one of them that we need access to, they've given us their blessing. Arizona State University, Huntington University, Grand Canyon University, Estrella Mountain Community College, Creighton College, Northern Arizona University, University of Arizona, and we just met with Midwestern. We are going after every single college. Why? Because they host the next generation of parents and leaders. We need to do this, and this will be duplicated throughout all the other states. And right now we're in Canada, and they're duplicating this boots on the ground initiative that we started a year ago. They're doing it now. So we have this all going, and it's just a well-oiled machine that continuously grows and continuously goes because of the voices that you all offer us. Next slide, please. So we work with police departments. We go in early intervention, middle school, high school, and we even do adult levels. We come together every quarter and we do community forums, or you can come on my Facebook. I tell you everything we're doing. Why? Because it keeps everything top of mind. People are probably like, oh, here she goes again bragging. I don't care. Listen, I'm going to tell you people what we're doing, because communication is the reason that we fail. We have to talk to one another. We have to educate everybody about what we're doing. So when I go to the police departments, we don't have enough money for training. We're understaffed. I'm like, listen, I hear this all day long. I worked in the restaurant industry. You want to talk about understaffed? I was understaffed every day. We still had to open the doors and do our job. So this is my suggestion, Mr. Officers. Get your briefing videos together, and let's use that opportunity to give them a 10-minute top of the mind reminder that when you go out and you serve tonight, remind yourself that you might run into somebody that has the signs of being on alcohol or drugs, but could potentially be somebody that's living with an intellectual disability or a processing delay. And let's keep that going and continuously do this, because guess what's happening right now, guys? School districts, people are pulling them out, taking their ESA money, and they're going somewhere else. That shouldn't be happening. We can fix this. It's very simple. All we have to do is work together and talk about it. There is no egos in this. We are all one team, and that's the way it has to be. And if people can't overcome that and they have that title and that's just what it is, we tell them, listen, we'll come back for you when you're ready, but we have to keep moving. We can't worry about all that other stuff, because guess what? My son, who's 19 years old, when I'm not here anymore, right now, the platform that we have for him is not going to be successful. And for the adults that I'm meeting, Sean was talking about all these opportunities that DDD has. Many of our adults, they're coming to me. I tried working. I tried being independent. Guess what? I'm failing. I'm homeless now. What do I do? How do I fix that? And guys, it's not going to get better, because now with COVID happening, it's just going to multiply. And guess what? Now our officers are going to be shooting these kids or doing something they shouldn't be doing. And the long-term solution for these families is going to be suing. And that's not the right way to do this. We can fix this if we start at the beginning and do it the right way. But we all have to work together. And that's why we're breaking down walls, breaking down doors, and we're not taking no for an answer. Next slide, please. Educators, they're working with us. We're building life skills. My son was told that he will never have an imagination. That's just not how he thinks, right? Well, guess what he did? Over the summer, him and his best friend created a hybrid dinosaur collection from A to Z. Hybrid animals that are also dinosaurs, and it's called an animal soar. And he took these things and he put them together, and we're now creating flashcards. And these flashcards start with colors, numbers, shapes, and sizes, all of those types of things. And we're using them in the schools to start teaching life skills, crisis intervention skills, and educational curriculum tools. And all of this is being done with us by educational curriculum developers, people that work with SPED teachers and curriculum to create these to be successful. We're working with the Arizona Department of Education now. I was just asked to be on 2 different boards. I took the role. I don't have time for that. I'm doing it because it's the right thing for me to do. I need to be educated to understand the world that all of you work in and how I can support it the best that I can. So with that, I need your voices. Next slide, please. So this is what it is, and I'm going to make this my last slide because I could keep going all day, but I want to show you exactly what this looks like so you have a visual. In step 1, we work with the college students. It's a boots on the ground campaign. We also work with law enforcement, and we work for educational leaders. We teach them our program and our educational curriculum. We continue ongoing development while they're empowered to execute everything. So we don't have to be there. We're hands off. That's the same thing we're going to do. If we're going to grow virtually, we can't be doing everything. We have to give it to you, and you take it and you make it better, and you come back to us with even better solutions. That is the highest level of education, creativity. Bloom taxonomy. I learned that over the summer last year. We are all creative. We can do this. Step 2, pre-K to 5, we're teaching life skills, how to make a bed, how to make a sandwich, all these little things. And we add in there hygiene, we add in there sense of urgency, time management, how to read a schedule, all the things that a business is going to want. Let's do it at kindergarten so these kids get moving and they're not just going, oh, I don't want to be lazy today. No, do not enable them. Let them keep going. Peer-to-peer training, all of those things. Then we go to 6th to 8th grade, take that and now introduce job skills. How does making a bed apply to a job skill? And then get them into there and get them in the TSW programs. And let's start getting them out there to show their abilities to either go into a TSW to community college, TSW to a trade school, TSW to a job, and not TSW to homebound. Let's go in and find survival independent living solutions, group homes, ADH homes, or the way I want to do it, survival skill training teams, people that work together and learn to live with one another. And then they go out there, they practice the skill in a training home, and then they go and live amongst all of us in independent living solutions that are affordable so that we don't have to be in line of those 88,000 people that are waiting for a home in the state of Arizona. It's never going to happen. Homeless or living at risk is what we're seeing. And we are the only ones, and I know every single one of these people that are on here today signed up because you wanted to serve others. You wanted to make a difference. Well, guess what? Today is our day to do that. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk to you. I'm very passionate about this, and I'm not going anywhere. This is where we're at, and we're going to do this in the state of Arizona. It will be our corporate state to show everybody else how to change the world. Thank you.
I just want to add quickly, can you hear me? I just want to add quickly, if you have any families or if you know a family that needs support, it doesn't matter what it is, because again, even though our mission is to integrate families of autism, we serve everybody at risk. They can visit our website, which has a crisis button. They can visit us on Facebook. They can join our Autism Families Unite Facebook group. And we highly suggest that you take a look at our YouTube digital library. We have so many incredible videos there, and we share with you there all the different partners that we have partnered with, what they're doing, how they're supporting and providing services to our families. If you need to reach out to us, you can reach both of us, Cricket and I, at info@soundsofautism.org. or you can give us a call at the main number that you see down at the bottom of the screen, and I will put all this information in the chat before we go as well. Thank you so much for your patience.
Cricket and Bernadette, your passion never ceases to amaze me. And the work that you have done over the course of the last 3 years, I'm completely blown away. And it is important to have advocates in the community because, as I've said before, our parents don't know what they don't know. And in Pendergast, we want our parents to know where they can go to get the services that they need, the education that they need, so that their children can grow up and be successful. So we're very thankful for the advocacy that you provide for us, to the community, and for our families. And thank you again for being here with us today.
Thank you, Gwen. And just so you guys know, Pendergast District had a huge influence on the way we designed and developed this. So we appreciate you being the support group that you have. Vincent, you're all over our Facebook. We put you out there on some of the things that you've done. And oh yeah, and your message has been very successful out on the platform. So, you know, you're helping people all over the world, all of you guys. And people don't realize, you know, social media can be used for a lot of things. We're using it for a very positive platform, and we share you everywhere. So thank you for that.
Thank you again. I know that we're going over our time this morning, but this is some awesome information. So if you can hang in there with us for 2 more presentations, you will not be disappointed. I believe we have Special Olympics up next. Shay, are you with us?
I am. Hello, everyone.
Hi, thanks for being here today.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here. Let me get my presentation up and running and we can get going. All right. Okay. Can everyone see that okay? Looks good? Perfect. Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Shay Knowlton. I am with Special Olympics Arizona. I am the Unified Champion Schools Manager. I've been with Special Olympics for about almost 3 years as of February 18th. Kind of crazy to think about. I'm a born and raised Arizonian, grew up in Arizona, went to Arizona school system and ASU graduate. I'm currently getting my master's at GCU. So I'm sticking to my home state. But I'm really excited and I'm very passionate about what I'm about to present to you. So I do just want to share just the quick overall, there we go, make sure it works. The overall mission of Special Olympics as an organization. Our goal is to always provide year-round sports training and athletic competition opportunities in a variety of Olympic styles for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, giving them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in a sharing of gifts, skills, and friendship with their families, other Special Olympics athletes, and their community. So that is our overall mission statement. And then kind of going into just what Special Olympics Arizona's vision is, just our personal goal as well, is to just make sure that sports will open hearts and minds towards people with intellectual disabilities and create inclusive communities all over the world. And then our goal on a positive school climate in the school side of it, we want to see diversity is valued, equity is demanded, and every student is a contributing member. So specifically the program I'm here to talk to you about, because Special Olympics Arizona, and I'm going to be really real here, I'm going to be kind of fast because I do want to be considerate of everyone's time, is that, you know, there's a lot to our organization. There's a lot of different avenues, and we do partner with a lot of different organizations, but our main goal is to, through the program, my main goal and through the program I help to support is to help bring inclusivity and equity to school campuses throughout the state of Arizona. I am very passionate about this. So the program I'm here to talk to you about is called Unified Champion Schools. There's a lot of other different programs I can talk about and a lot of different other outreach we do, but I want to specifically focus on this since you are an elementary school and I do work with a few Pendergast schools that are actually a part of this strategy. So what is the Unified Champion Schools? It is a strategy to help activate youth, engage educators, and promote school communities of acceptance and inclusion where all young people are agents of change. Basically, layman's terms, it's a flexible program that a teacher, a school, principal, superintendent board, I can go one school one, I can go district down, and parents, you're a keystone of making sure that your children are involved in this. This is a really important program, but basically making sure that you're creating a positive school culture for all your students. Your students with an intellectual disability is having lunch with those without. They're saying hi to each other in the hallway. They actually know each other's names. They're not just an isolated group, in the back of the campus, which sadly, that is the way of the past. And I know a lot of schools are working to alter that kind of mentality. The objectives of a unified champion school is to create schools of acceptance, promote positive attitudes and behavior, increase participation in school-based sports, which can also lead to better health for all students involved, increase youth involvement at the school, local, and state level, and promote social inclusion for individuals with and without IDD. Unified is all about combining students with an intellectual disability or developmental disability with those without, so they can create what I like to call situational friendship. You're putting them together. Maybe they've never interacted with each other. They don't know each other really well. And you're creating this situational friendship. And maybe one day, if they grow up together, maybe they go from elementary, middle to high school together, they're going to end up becoming meaningful friendship and maybe lifelong friends. You never know the way of things. I do have some really good stories of athletes and partners who have gone through the system together and are lifelong friends to this day. They're really cool people. So that is really the goal of this program. The beauty of it, let me keep going, is that we focus on 3 different strategies to help support this in a school system. We do have an unofficial 4th because Arizona is amazing. Just like to, humble brag to other state programs, but we have an amazing health program. But it's not an official pillar of Unified Champion Schools yet. Arizona's working on it. But we like to focus on unified sports. And this can take a lot of different appearances with your school and within the system and without the system. If you're parents, we also focus on community programs. So if the school is unable to start it at this time, we can actually work with your local community and try to get a program going there as well. I know it can always be challenging, and sometimes it's just not the right year for a school. It's the not right year for a community program. What you want to do is be flexible, and I'm always happy to find a solution, a loophole, a middle ground, just to kind of get these programs up and running. So unified sports, specifically, since this is an elementary school, I like to focus on unified PE, or it can be sometimes termed adaptive PE, where you have those with and without intellectual and developmental disabilities together in a PE classroom. This can also include young athletes, which is for age ranges of 2 to 7 years old. That is focusing on SEL, motor skill development, cognitive development, and just, basic social skills. Can we cheer on Dave while he kicks the blue ball into the red hula hoop? And we do offer 100% of support the first 3 years of this program. We give equipment. It's a whole 9, and I won't go too deep because I know this is just kind of an overview. But young athletes is probably my favorite to my soul because I love working with little kids. It's where I started, was teaching nutrition education in Arizona at elementary school levels. So I moved that to Special Olympics. So I love working with the little kids. And those are in-school programs. That's the beauty of it. And if you are interested in bringing young athletes into your home, I have special equipment designed and a little kit for you to do at-home activities with your child in the home. It is not kind of associated with Unified Champion Schools, but I'm still able to help you and give you some resources. The next part is inclusive youth leadership. We just want to focus on making sure that our athletes have a voice on their school campus. If you have a student council, have an athlete position, have them run, have a unified pair be on the council together. It's an actual position so that they have a voice for the unified club you might want to have on campus. You could also, if you're best buddies, that's another way to go. If you have a partnership with that program, we do partner with them on certain campaigns throughout the year. Always happy to work with them. And then of course, whole school engagement, awareness and education activities that promote inclusion, and can reach the whole school population. This can be spread the word inclusion, which was formerly known as spread the word to end the word. Everyone's probably more familiar with the R with the red circle in the line. So spread the word to end the word. That was a really funny campaign. About 3 years ago, they realized kids were starting to ask, what is the R word? And they realized they needed to do a revamp. So now it's spread the word inclusion. focusing on teaching students, what does inclusion mean? What does it mean to, what does acceptance mean? What does exclusion mean? What does tolerance mean? Start focusing on some of those stronger words so kids kind of learn in their behavior. What is fear of difference? What creates that exclusion? What causes students to go and exclude those who might be different from them in any way? And having them learn those vocabulary at such a young age can also change their mindset and create those relationships that we want to create in the school system. Don't freeze. Okay. This is just a really quick graph. I am going to speed through some of this, and I apologize, but I do want to get to a video that I'm really excited to share. It's been shared a few times, but I really want to get to that. So this is just a quick show of what it looks like as a whole for Unified Champion Schools. You've got whole school engagement, you've got your inclusive youth leadership, and you've got your inclusive youth or inclusive sports. And that basically makes up the components. So I did already kind of go over this. This is a quick overview. And these are pictures that were actually taken within the last 2 years. We didn't do any sports, of course, during the main COVID year, but we are back to full competition this year. We're really excited about that. Of course, following very safety guidelines. But we are back, and our athletes and partners are really happy that we're back to full competition. So basically focusing on an elementary school level, we do have area sports that's in the community. If you are age 7 and up, you can compete on a community level. Track and field is always the best one. You only need 8 hours practice, and we go through all of that with you. So I won't delve too deep into this. For elementary school specifically, Unified PE and Young Athletes, as I mentioned before, but Young Athletes is a sports and play program for athletes and partners. Basically, if you are a general education classroom, or if you are a special education classroom, or if you are a combined classroom of any kind, you can do Young Athletes. It is for any and all above. It just helps you learn those key words, as I was talking about earlier, and just helps, educate students and focuses on SEL, motor skill, and cognitive development. Unified PE, again, I actually have a curriculum that is designed to teach the top 8 sports of Special Olympics. It adheres to Arizona Health Standards, so you PE and resource teachers can flexibly, I call it a curriculum, I know, but it actually is a resource. You can develop and fold it into the wheels you already have. That's my biggest thing with educators. I come from an educator family. I've got 3 teachers that teach in Arizona in my family, so I know personally what's going on. So you can fold those in to your curriculum or lesson plans, however you want to fit in, but just make it unified is the best way. Okay, inclusive youth leadership. I did talk about this again, but I'm just going to go through the slides real quick. What does inclusive youth leadership look like? It could be student leaders leading the warm up in a Unified PE class. It could be your 5th graders coming down and doing a peer reading system with your 1st grade or 2nd grade or kindergartners. It could be actually, you can even have, if you're a K through 8, have your 8th graders, 6th graders come down and work with the young athletes when they do their young athletes activities. There's just so many different ways you can bring inclusive youth leadership. It's, again, fold it into the wheel you have, find a hole in that wheel, and then have this fit into it. And then finally, of course, whole school engagement, probably my favorite, because these are field days, pep assemblies, Spirit Weeks, Disability Awareness Week and month, if you ever do celebrate that. You want to do a unified recess event, we'll come out with a table of music, and we'll, have your kids out there, and we'll talk to them and have a really good time. There's also in classroom opportunities here. We have lesson plans designed by teachers for teachers called Unified Classroom. This focuses on monthly lesson plans. They're only about 35-45 minutes. Of course, again, flexibility. You can design it into your classroom and your schedule. Parents also can access this resource as well. It's free for anyone. And it's called Unified Classroom Lessons. Like 1 month you focus on belonging. Another might be kindness. And then of course, inclusion, the big one, right? So Special Olympics, basically our goal is to focus on lifelong engagement through unified sports and activities, ages 2 for life. Special Olympics doesn't end after high school, and a lot of people don't know that, but our oldest athlete, he competes in bocce, is 84 years old. So he is still going strong. He's really good actually, but we have athletes of all ages competing at all different levels, and this can be in the home community. and as well as in the schools, which is, of course, is my specific focus is school-related relationships and how to bring parents, educators, and all the children together. I'm actually going to skip just some of this because I want to get to the video. I know I'm talking very fast and I threw a lot of information, so thank you. I do just want to say this is just some impact. Oh, and then up top, I have to show this. You see the unified ukulele picture. That is one of my baby programs that I started within relationship with Korg, and that's going to be really important in the video that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Hopefully everyone will be able to hear it. But Unified Ukulele is a very big program for our elementary and middle schools. If you want to start a unified ukulele program or music class, we offer and support that and help that. We can give you ukuleles. It's a whole play by color system. It's amazing. Probably one of my favorites. So students with and without, just some key impact. More than 3/4 of students who got to know a student with a disability through their participation in a unified strategy activity considers this person to be their friend. For students without IDD, it can create positive attitudes towards their peers, create more tolerant, and realize the impact of their words and actions. Throughout my 3 years with Special Olympics, I've really come to learn about the power of words. You know, you never really thought about it. And sadly, I graduated high school in Arizona before Unified Champion Schools, literally the year before Unified Champion Schools started. I was an athlete in high school, and I know if this program had been around, I would have been 100% involved. It just would have been amazing, and I'm sad I missed out. But and then students with IDD feel welcome, are included more, and they feel that they're valued. They are a part of the, you know, they're not just there to be seen, you know, they're actively involved. They are participating. They are competing at a high level. You know, it's not a feel good. It is intentional inclusion. What are you intentionally doing to create inclusion? And that is for students with and without IDD. What else do I have? Oh, just some more statistics. These are all impacts from Special Olympics, the organizations. This is actually some statewide numbers. I do know that they're coming out with some new numbers, so I'm going to say these are a little outdated now, especially after COVID year. We all survived it, but it was sort of, I think. 72, so just, I'm just going to share a few of these. 84% of students become better at sharing responsibility. 65% of students felt they learned they have things in common with their peers with intellectual disabilities. It just creates more inclusive. And then this picture is one of my, this is a Head Start program I partner with for young athletes, probably one of my all-time favorites. Okay, so it didn't start, good. So Copper King is a Pendergast school district, and I had to reshare this video. This was launched the beginning of August, but this was filmed pre-COVID about 2 years ago now. But I had to reshare this because Copper King is one of our strongest unified programs, is run very well. And they started with Unified Ukulele, but the program was so amazing that Sona came out and did a whole, Special Olympics North America came out and did this campaign. So they reached out to schools around the state, nationwide, and found schools that they felt started their unified journeys on a really cool level. And Copper King was one of those. And this was launched nationwide August of this year. I know I was Pendergast, we shared it out. It was all over the place. So I don't know if anyone has seen it or not. It was on all the social medias. We were very excited about it, but I wanted to reshare this so everyone could kind of see what the unified journey could look like, you know, how your unified journey start. And it is a feel good, but I just love this video. So hopefully, thumbs up if you can hear volume.
Simon says, put your hands in the air. Simon says, wave them around. The program that we teach in is considered a self-contained room. My students know when they're not included. Walking around the school grounds and no one saying hi to them and not paying them any attention when they see all the other kids walking by, and it's tough to watch. I think Special Olympics Unified Sports is giving everyone a purpose because you know the kids want to be here and want to make an impact, and they are making an impact with my students. Copper King on 3, 1, 2, 3.
I can no longer hear the sound, Shay. If it is supposed to be playing, it is not coming through.
Oh, did everyone else lose volume? Really? So you had it right at the beginning and then well, it is it is subtitled. So is it okay to keep going? I feel bad.
Sure, yeah, we can just keep going with it with those
Weird, 'cause
subtitles.
it was working in the beginning, right? It's
Yes, we heard all of Jamie's intro.
My brother is in charge. He has a disability.
Now it's back.
He is like the complete world to me. I love him so much. I've had Marcus since I started. Nice job. I started going to his Special Olympic events and just watching kids compete and how proud they are. I was like, well, this would be awesome if we could ever do that at Copper King. Good job, Marcus. Angelica pitched me on Special Olympics Unified Sports. And I said, yes, absolutely. And I told her this is the process behind starting up, unified sports at your school. They'll give us jerseys. They would give us the transportation, the equipment that we would need, and they would pay for all of it. The second year of the program, we would have to meet them halfway, so mostly with transportation. And by the third year, we should be up and running to continue funding ourselves, which is how the Coyote Cafe started. Coyote Cafe is a little coffee shop that we run out of the back of our classroom. My students go around and fulfill the order. It's also another way of getting them into the general ed classrooms, giving my students the opportunity of learning job skills. So it was really solving two shortcomings with how do we start fundraising for the future, but also how do we keep developing our students to succeed to the next level. After the Coyote Cafe, we went on to inclusive ukuleles. Inclusive ukulele was kind of our into getting kids involved in our program and wanting them to come over. And it included my students and our general ed peers. Okay, ready? Whoa. It's adaptive, so every student is capable of being able to play. They're being included and being able to do it and sing along with their friends at the same time. Inclusive ukuleles kind of created a buzz. I mean, we had these kids who were coming over from 5th grade and playing the ukuleles, and then their peers became more interested in, well, why can't I do that? Like, I want to get involved with that. Inclusive ukulele opened up a big conversation about inclusion. It opened up an opportunity for Special Olympics Unified Sports. We practiced 2 days a week and just 25 minutes at the end of the day. They enjoyed it, but they were also at the same time building that connection with their unified partners. The day before the first event, I wanted them to try on their jerseys. They went in the bathroom, they put it on, and the first one walked out and he just strutted out with this big smile on his face, and he was so proud of himself. It doesn't matter if he doesn't get a ribbon, if he doesn't get a medal, he's wearing something that he's proud of. Being 12 and being able to be proud of yourself is a feeling that he might have not had before, had it not been for Special Olympics Unified Sports. It's been really amazing being able to grow with the kids that I've been teaching, because most of them I've had since I've started here.
Yeah, I see you're fine.
It's fun here?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, we will all play, okay? 1, 2, 3, go! That if you're trying to set out and be that unified champion school, you have to start small and continue to build. At the end of the day, it touches your heart.
Bernadette, you are on mute.
Oh, I'm talking too. It's okay. Sorry.
Perfect. Well, that was it. That was my presentation. Hopefully, that video, I just love that video to stay. I work with all of the elementary schools in the state, so I am actually the main point of contact while I'm the Unified Champion Schools manager. Elementary school is definitely my bread and butter, what I love working with, and working with educators and district levels, going district down or school by school. I'm happy to work with strategies and find ways to fit it into your class, your curriculum schedule, however it needs to. Please go to specialmixarizona.org. We have full updated website. We're really proud of it. We worked on it during the COVID year, so it's up to date with all of our information, COVID guidelines, how we work with schools. And if you need any other information, please reach out to me for young athletes information or anything else. I'm happy to set up those meetings and talk with you. And that is it. And then also check out our Facebook page. We have an amazing social media campaign now, also due to COVID. But we run a lot of really fun activities, and we do a lot of esports competition for those with children who like video games. We are getting into esports, and we create a safe online environment for your children to compete without worrying about, some of the things that can happen online. So thank you so much for having me today, and I hope everyone enjoyed my presentation.
Jay, thank you so much. Each and every time I see that video, my eyes tear, and then I have to get myself back together so I can talk again. We've had Special Olympics with preschool. Our teachers have driven the initiative at Rio Vista, also at Copper King. And the teacher you saw was at Copper King, and she started that. That came from her wanting to have her kids in an inclusive environment, and she's done some wonderful work. As you were talking, I was taking all these notes that I know that I need to revisit with you, because there's some other stuff that I know I want to talk to you about. Thank you so much again for being here. Bernadette, I think you had a question.
I just want to make a comment. You saw my mouth moving. I was actually talking to my daughter, and I wanted her to see this because I love it. If you didn't see, I had a smile the whole time through the video, because Isabella experiences these types of isolation at school. She goes through this all the time, and I'm trying to raise her as a leader to support other children that experience the same thing she's going through. So I wanted to show it to her. So I was talking to her at the same time. So that's why my mouth was moving. I was excited to say, look, come look, come look. She was excited too. So I just want to say thank you, Shay. That was awesome. Love that video.
Thank you. Yeah, please, if you're interested, reach out. I'd love to connect with her school if we don't have it. And
that would be great. That would be great.
Thank you, Shay, again. Thanks, Bernadette, for your comments. Okay, we have got just the most exciting treat to end our fair with, and I'm so glad that we're ending with this special treat. And I think this is a component that we often don't think about, and that's why we wanted to make sure we end it with this. We won't be long. We're just maybe 30 minutes over. Thank you guys for being with us this entire time. I've looked in to see that most people have stayed with us the entire time. We will be sharing out this presentation so that others that weren't able to participate or stay will be able to get the information as well. Vincent, do you want to do this introduction?
Yes, please, Gwen. Thank you very, very much. As an occupational therapist here at Pendergast since 2015, working with all our exceptional student services teams, we know, and Cricket and Bernadette spoke about this eloquently in their presentation on autism, also children with sensory processing disabilities, in terms of their sensitivity to touch, to light, to noise. Thinking about our kiddos, one of the biggest hurdles that many of our parents have is going out into the community to get a haircut for their child. And it is something that is almost impossible for many of our parents. I've been looking for resources since I became an occupational therapist, and I couldn't find anyone. When I moved to Goodyear, I found someone on Nextdoor who actually recommended someone who is here with us today. And I had to ask Gwen if it's a possibility to include her in a resource fair as a resource to the Pendergast community. And so she said yes, and I was like, yes. So without further ado, I would love to invite Miss Joanna, aka Jojo, I'll let you say your last name because I don't want to butcher it, who is the owner and stylist of Jojo's Believe It or Not Sensory Hair Salon out in Chandler, Arizona, to our resource fair to explain to our community what resources she can provide. So without further ado, Jojo, it's all up to you.
Hi guys. It's kind of hard to follow the last one. Thanks, Shay. It's a big following. I appreciate so much you guys having me be here and allowing me to be a part of it. Vincent is going to do my slides here for me because yeah, that's not my thing. So this did come about because of COVID, and people got to look at things just a little bit differently. And so I will start. So the first page just shows like who I am, and then let me go ahead and scoot this over so I can go over it. Here we go. Slide 1, what we're going to see is me and my family, how it all came about. Is slide 2. Slide 3 is going to be why and when you should choose a sensory service. I'm actually just going over that first page. Okay, so the first, I will skip ahead with you, Vince. We can skip this one and go on to the next.
Okay.
You're good.
Sorry about that. Yep.
Okay, so this is my family. This is who I am. I am a single mom. I have 2 kids, along with I have raised my twin nephews and a niece since they were 8 and 10 years old. Kids have always just been my life. I moved to Chandler 15 years ago and I began cosmetology school. After that, I began working as a hairstylist at different franchises, and I worked for a kids salon that said that they did special needs appointments. What they did was we allowed extra like 15 minutes was the total. That's like total for the parents to come in and basically strap your child in and hold them down. It was what I didn't find appropriate. I would be crying, mom's crying, respite's like, I can't help. I didn't understand. And so when COVID happened, we can go on to number 4, I believe. Yeah, the next one. So during the pandemic, you know, you're scrolling on Facebook and everybody says, you know, pay attention to how your employer treats you during this time. And I thought, well, it wasn't too great. And so I said, you know what? I asked my family, hey, can you guys support me through this? I had only, I had only the one stimulus payment to open this up and no prior business experience. All I do have is an extreme goal for inclusion and to have no one ever be held down again. Sorry, I get very emotional about it. I figured, you know what, if a business fails, it fails during COVID, and is it that big of a deal? I can always just chalk it up to it was COVID, it wasn't me. And then we went on. Next one. So sensory services. What I've done is extensive research and talked to everyone and anyone that I possibly can. I was on the, I don't know if you guys have been on the Clubhouse forum. I get really caught up and almost addicted to that. So I had to stop myself. But there's a ton of information on there and a ton of people that you can speak to. So I've spoken to people in Africa and South Africa and England, and what do they do and how is this handled? And I speak to adults, autistics constantly to find out, am I fulfilling what is needed? And checking all the boxes and making sure that inclusivity and what is number one. It is huge for me. So what I'm saying on this slide is, if your child's ever had a meltdown at the stores, at the salon, if you've been stared at, been pointed at, if people have made you to feel as if you are different, you're not, you are perfect and you are welcome. You are welcome with me. If they have a hard time with people touching them or brushing their hair, brushing teeth, bathing, loud noises, bright lights. They don't like to be touched much. If you've had your child held down for a haircut, if you both leave crying and it takes sometimes weeks to get over it. If people have pointed, smirked, and just made you feel self-conscious. then I am a safe space. I do everything in my power to make sure to provide a safe space. In these pictures that I have here, these are not current. This is not what my studio actually looks like. The lights are dimmed at my studio. They can pick out what they want on TV. I do not ever force anyone to sit in the chair. It is not required. If they are not able to wear a cape, that is not required. I will go through 10 to 12 towels per person, just wiping. I keep one underneath my arm, and as I do the cut, I wipe and I wipe. I do anything to make sure that they feel comfortable and seen, if that means doing the hair in the back where there's trees and some feral cats, and they can follow them around, and I will follow them around. There is actually a little park in the community, which I happen to live in the same community. So I have gone to that park and done haircuts while the child was on a swing. I will take any step. Sometimes we don't finish. And then they come back the next day, and that's whether I'm open or not, or I come to their home. I will literally take any step that there is possible. I keep a desk full of cards of different organizations and companies that I know will help the parents, because sometimes they come to me so overwhelmed and they just don't know what the next steps are. And I tell them I'm a resource for them. I tell all of my parents, all of my clients, that I'm part of your team and that it takes a village. And I'm part of that village. I allow them to call me in the middle of a meltdown that their child is having when they are at home at 8 p.m. at night and they just don't know where to turn. Sometimes it's just a separate voice that will help. And if they can just throw me on that FaceTime and I say, hey, it's JoJo, and they can kind of pull themselves out, and the parents get that support, which is so, so, so needed. And I have made a point to make sure that even though I am in a small studio and there are people in the other studios, they know what I do, and they are very supportive for the most part. I have had moments where they have come to knock at the door and I said, yes, what can I help you with? And they said, well, I mean, they're screaming. And I said, because he has rights and he is communicating, and you can go ahead and shut the door now. And that's how that goes, because we have rights, and inclusion needs to be number one. It should be the number one thing that everyone is talking about. And I have goals that are way beyond hair and haircuts to get that inclusion going, because I personally, throughout this process, have been diagnosed with ADHD, and which has made a lot more sense about my sensory sensitivities. And I'm working on another diagnosis also. It's very hard to get a diagnosis as an adult. But what I have seen being in this community is love. And what I want to give back is love. And if we can all just say one kind word and just be that kindness, be that light in someone else's life. We're all living such a struggle. We've all been hurt. We've all been broken. If we can all just see each other for where we are and honor that and allow us to have some grace, I just feel like it would be such a better place. On the next page, we have my contact information. I am available. I try to do that Google Voice number for a minute. It doesn't suit me. The phone number that is given out is my number. I am available anytime for anyone to if you just need to spout off, if you just need someone to listen, that's not your family, that's not going to try to solve it. Because I know I've been married. I know what spouses do. They want to solve things. Like, I will just help you and I'll fix it. No, sometimes you just need a sounding board, and I will do that. And I will do that for any teacher, for anyone. It's just the type of person that I am. I appreciate so much being able to be a light in children's lives, in parents' lives, and that this can be done. It is such a, it's a small task that can be accomplished. Sometimes it does. Like I have one where it took a year. It took a year for him to get his hair cut without an extreme meltdown, to the point that it was triggering for me. It was very, everybody told me that I shouldn't have him come back because he was violent towards his mother. And I said, nope, he's going to come back. He can do it. He can do it. And he does now. Now, does he sit in a chair? No. He lays down flat on a chair, and I do it around him. And sometimes we call them wonky cuts, because sometimes they're not going to look perfect, but you're going to be able to see them, and they're going to be able to see, and they're not going to have the triggers of it hitting their ears and behind on their neck. Are they going to look perfect? Not always. A little gel can fix up anything, though. What they are going to feel is they're going to feel perfect, because I tell each and every one of my clients that they were made perfectly, because I believe it. I appreciate you guys allowing me to share.
Jojo, thank you so much for sharing your personal testimony and your journey along the way, as you've discovered how important it is to work with all of our children and giving a place for all of our children. You know, there were three things that I summed up as I was listening to everybody today. And I think everyone in here has this commonality: our passion for humanity, our lens and our insistence for equity, and our inability to take no for an answer. And I think those are some of the best characteristics that will ensure that our children are getting everything that they are supposed to receive and become the adults that we want them to be. At this time, we are closing out our resource fair. I would like to offer an opportunity for any closing remarks. I believe Dr. Brown is still with us. I'm not sure if we have Dr. Cruz. I can't see, but Dr. Brown, do you have, are you able to close out? Thank you.
Yes, and I'm glad I'm not the only one who had a couple technical difficulties. We are all in this together, so thank you for putting yourselves out there, because again, it takes a lot. And with this digital version, we never know what's going to happen that day, but the information that everyone was here to share with each other and to learn about and hear from one another, I can't think of a better way to have spent my Saturday morning. And I just want to close this out by saying thank you, because everyone who was on the call earlier, everyone who's here now, you're truly champions for children. I love what you said, Gwen Parker, about not taking no for an answer and making sure that our children have access to the opportunities that they deserve. And what I heard over and over through every presentation, the common theme for me is we're making sure that our kids are going to have options in that moment, options throughout their K-12 experience, but then also options in life. We don't know what our kids are capable of until we set the right things in motion for them to be able to show us what they're capable of. And so being on this resource fair and getting to hear from so many partners and members of my incredible Pendergast team and the work that we're doing to really support our children, our families, and our communities, you just warmed my entire heart after the end of a long week. But that's why we do it. We have champions for children in this room. And I think let's keep doing epic things for kids, because our kids deserve the very best. And it sounds like we are reaching out to some of the right people who believe that same thing. So thank you so much for being here, for your time, for your commitment, and anything we can do to strengthen those partnerships for our children. I'm happy to be in Pendergast and to support that. Thank you to the team. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to our community members, parents, everyone who was able to join this morning to hear all these presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, and thank you, partners, and thank you, staff. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday.
Have I mentioned yet this week that y'all are hands down